Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Raise the Dead. Get it? Because the name is Ray and there's an apostrophe S, and it also sounds like Raise the Dead, which is actually what you do in this game. This is an in-development zombie themed, and where are you going? No, it's not a zombie themed match 3 game or anything like that. It's a zombie themed like Pikmin kind of game where you are doing like real-time squad-based strategy, not in like an XCOM style, but again more in a Pikmin style where you're like commanding your own zombie army. Apologies there. To accomplish certain objectives and murder people and, get a larger and larger zombie army that allows you to accomplish bigger and better goals. Let's get started here. This is currently in development, as mentioned. There is a Kickstarter campaign and a Greenlight page, both of which I will link to in the video description below. But yeah, this is currently at the very start of its Kickstarter campaign, where they're trying to raise $70,000. I believe they're about a third of the way there, $75,000 actually, and they're about a third of the way there, with ample amount of time to go, but still, it's never too early to start being prudent about that. So we are playing as, I believe this character's name is Rey La Morte. It might be like Rey de la Morte, but maybe I'm just channeling some Guacamelee there. And the story of us is basically that we have a light bulb attached to our head. Maybe this is how we died. Some freak science experiment went terribly wrong. But then our grave was struck by lightning, and in getting our grave struck by lightning, this is powered on our light bulb and given us some form of sentience. I should mention, by the way, I'm playing this on the PC. I'm pretty sure this build is press only at the moment, but presumably there will be a demo available at some point. Don't mean to put the guys at Ragtag Studios, the developers of the game, in a tough spot by saying so, but eventually I assume one will exist. But I'm playing this on the Xbox 360 controller. This is the way that it is recommended to play so far. And we're going to play through the shortish, anyway, press demo, which is probably going to number maybe 20 minutes, maybe a half hour if I play terribly, maybe 15 minutes if I play really well. And it's good because this demo actually gives us a very good feel for how the progression of the game works and kind of the abilities that we have. Because as of right now, we can just walk around. By the way, some of the text is messed up because I'm playing this at a wonky resolution as opposed to the standard like full screen resolution. But by using the left trigger here, I can summon our first little zombie companion to come along with us. And this is going to be the main gameplay mechanic, at least that I've seen so far of the game, is kind of creating our own team of zombies, some of which are going to be classes or, specialized in one way or the other. Like we'll get zombies that are particularly fast that you will see eventually. Then some of it will just be like you're getting a huge horde because there's almost like Banjo-Kazooie style gates, if you will. Like this one, this might not be the best example. But there will be gates that you can't break through unless you have a certain number of zombies, I guess approximating a certain amount of physical strength. So we're just going to walk around for now. I believe we have to summon something like 7 zombies in this graveyard. And basically all this is going to entail for now is walking around here and kind of popping the left trigger and getting these guys to get up. Now, this is a game, I mentioned that I'm playing with the 360 controller. I can't imagine this not working with the keyboard and mouse. In fact, I can imagine it easily actually working a lot better with the keyboard and mouse, because all we're going to be doing is using the right analog stick eventually to kind of point these zombies in a direction and giving them like a context-sensitive action to accomplish, like a break down this barrier or fight this dude, etc., etc. Like this, for example, we can now send these guys over here with the right trigger and the analog stick to try to break down the gate, but sadly, we actually do not have enough zombies to get through, so I'm just gonna, yes, call them back using the left trigger here. It controls fine on the 360 controller, but I would not be surprised if it controlled better on the PC. So we're gonna have some NPCs here. Again, if you notice any glitches or anything like that, keep in mind this is a work in progress. As always, that's the caveat to doing these early videos is, it's great to get a look at a game, kind of something that wouldn't have existed 10 years ago in critical press, I guess, to get like an unfiltered look at a game that's currently in development. But the flip side is that, occasionally there's going to be bugs and zippity-doo-dahs and stuff like that. So we only have 5 zombies. So here's our problem. We need 7 zombies to get through this gate here. But we are going to only have 5 zombies in the surrounding area. So, you can see that farmer up there, and he's also got a buddy with him. This is probably not going to be his best day, because what we are actually going to do is just come over here and murder him. And I think they're going to tutorialize it first. Yeah, so we can send our zombies over here to attack him, kind of without us having any direct involvement, I should say, and then we can summon him back like so via the left trigger, and he'll just flip into a zombie there. Or we could actually go up and attack him ourselves, but we risk taking damage. Oh, actually, they're not giving me the option to do that yet. Maybe they'll do that on the last guy here. For right now, they're just teaching us how to use our squad, so I appreciate the hand-holding, even though I actually am a little bit more adept than the game thinks I am at this point. This is obviously from basically the start of the game, and I believe this is just a vertical slice. This is not actually representative of the final gameplay in the game. I believe this is just I wonder if I can actually do my own attacking here. Yeah, I don't believe that this is like a level pulled from the actual game. I believe it is just a vertical slice of what the game is, the representative quality of gameplay from the game, shall we say. And I have to say, from a visual standpoint, okay, I'm going to ignore the radio there for a second, but from a visual standpoint, I really like the way the game this game looks. The zombies kind of have a Plants vs. Zombies style aesthetic to them, at least, like the 2D models of them. But it also kind of reminds me of Skulls of the Shogun, kind of the way that the models move around and kind of bounce a little bit on their knees. Hopefully that made some sense at all if you've seen the Skulls of the Shogun video. Even the camera angle is kind of similar, which is kind of an interesting comparison that I did not expect. By the way, the studio making this game, Ragtag Studio, based out of Chicago, 2 of the 3 guys working on this also worked on Stubbs the Zombie, which I actually didn't play myself, but I know that that is kind of a cult following among fans of zombie games. So I'm going to fight this guy myself now. So, you know, as Ray here, we do have the option to do our own attacking as well, basically just by using the A button. It works fine. We can then jump on his face and eat his brains, and this will kill him. And now you've been introduced to kind of the very crux of the game here, or the most important basic mechanic of the game, which is, you know, kill humans to make zombies to accomplish, you know, get a big enough horde to accomplish certain objectives. There will be times in the game when enemies will have weapons and they'll fight back. They'll kill some of our zombies, but, you know, you just want to kind of reach an equilibrium or past that equilibrium, start gaining extra zombies. More than you lose, at least, if it's at all possible. And now we're going to enter the second phase of the demo, which I believe is going to take us through a small town. So there's going to be 4 phases of the demo. Some of them are going to be a little bit shorter than this. Some of them are going to be a little bit longer than this. But you'll see what's going on here. And we might get a little chance to talk about the setting of the game, because that's actually important as well, especially the way the setting ties into the soundtrack, because this is set in 1980, and the soundtrack really does a good job of kind of aping the music of the era. In fact, when I played this for the first time, I didn't know it was set during that time period, and one of the tracks came on, I was like, oh, that sounds totally like something John Carpenter would have composed for one of his movies. You know, John Carpenter, The Thing, Escape from New York, etc., etc. Has a habit of composing his own soundtracks, at least back in the day. And some of those tracks in here, at least so far, really kind of hit those notes. And there, you know, there's other. I wasn't alive for most of the '80s, but you know, I am a fan of that kind of setting, at least from a monster and like sci-fi and horror movie standpoint. Basically, what we're doing right now is we're just walking through the town. It's kind of like, you know, in Shaun of the Dead, where they pretend to be zombies and then they just walk through. It's like the opposite of this. We're pretending to be humans, pretending to be zombies, walking through the town without anybody actually hurting us. And you know what, because this is the Halloween aesthetic and also the kind of camera angle that you have, it also reminds me a little bit of Costume Quest, but not on a gameplay standpoint, just from a, especially like the environment models kind of have a Costume Questy vibe, the Halloween RPG from Double Fine that came out a while ago. So we are going to get involved with some kind of stealth soon, and that's another element of the game that I probably should have talked about earlier, but in terms of genre, this is not just like a squad-based strategy, or squad-based real-time strategy. I don't even know if that genre exists. Maybe this is the first one, I guess except for Pikmin, but it's also got stealth action involved as well, which I won't talk too much about just now because we're going to see it actually first. Dog models, a little effed up. Sometimes they yap, but don't make any noise, and it just kind of looks like their model is freaking out. Again, keep in mind this is a work in progress. So the dog told us he was going to eat our soul and expose us. And now we learn that there are 2 different kinds of modes. We can either have the swarm mode, which the way that this, no, I'm in swarm mode now, which basically allows us to choose where our zombies go with the right analog stick, you know. And if we really wrench on the right analog stick, we can send them further out. If we just kind of push it out a little bit, we can make it really close behind us, which is going to be important to keep them following us. Or, you know, there's just the follow mode, which is the kind of default one, which will just put us back to. So these zombies are going to move out here. You're going to see some kind of like Mark of the Ninja style scent or awareness circles. Oh no, we've accidentally gotten one zombie stuck on the side here. This has actually happened to me before. But yeah, we'll get scent circles or awareness circles from these dogs. I've never actually been discovered by one of them, so I don't know if that's something that is even possible. If you play like really badly, maybe the dogs discover you, but I've never had them actually like start any combat or anything like that. So I think this is just kind of meant to be a flavorful area, I guess, where you're supposed to be a little bit stressed out. Because, of course, you know, that's the horror trope, right? Is like humans are totally oblivious to monsters, but animals, on the other hand, are completely cognizant of, like, who's real and who's not. So, I'm not going to say it's a Metroidvania, because it's quite clearly not, but we will occasionally, I guess, find power sources which will increase the strength of our beam. So now you can see if I really, you know, push the analog stick as far as it'll go, it goes a lot further than before. So we are going to get a kind of, for lack of a better word, a combat section here. In fact, it is a terrible way to describe it because it's not really a combat section. It is much more of a kind of puzzle-solving section, almost in like a Hitman style, and that's going to sound crazy, but you'll see what I mean once we go here. So they're going to tutorialize this a little bit, and I will read it out because this section does a good job of explaining what's going on. So you need to make more zombies without raising alarm. You should only go after those you can snatch without a sound, because we don't want to get in some, you know, hand-to-hand combat with like a bunch of these police who have guns. I guess it's not really hand-to-hand, but anyway. So these two ladies are talking outside of their double-wide trailers. We can put a zombie in a bush here. Let's turn off swarm mode, and if we put a zombie in a bush here, this will kind of trigger an instance where these guys stop talking because they're like, okay, good night, and then when she walks by, we just manage to kill her and, you know, get another zombie free of charge. So now by using the left trigger, we can call both of these guys out of the bush. Now, if you didn't notice that the fence that dog went through, we actually do need 10 zombies in order to break that fence down. So one thing we can do here is put one of our zombies in this bush where this guy is peeing outside of the double deuce. By the way, I'm not sure if you can really hear it well at all, but the double deuce has like this uncanny knock. Oh, I've been revealed as a zombie? How did that happen? Maybe my zombie got out of the bush or something, and I guess I failed that mission. Let's try this again. So I'll speed through this as soon as possible. I wish there was kind of a closer checkpoint, but, you know, whatever. It's only been a couple minutes here. But yeah, the double deuce has like some sound wafting out from it, and it is the uncanniest knockoff of Boston, the band Boston, not the city, that I've ever heard, I think, in my entire life. In fact, to the point where I was like kind of concerned that maybe there was licensed music in this, and by showing it off, I was going to get a copyright strike or a content ID match on YouTube or something like that. So zombie, you go in the bush, and we'll do this all over again. It's seriously uncanny. It's well done. So we're going to get our trailer park zombie here. We'll pull them all out and keep an eye out for opportunities to quietly increase your zombie number. Now, I swear to God, this will work. I've done it before. I don't know why it didn't work this time. Just send the zombie into the bush, like so. He should hide. There we go. Then we walk away, because the police officer was there. You can kind of hear the sweet, dulcet tones of Boston right now. Is the police officer? No, police officer's gone. We must have gotten the zombie then. Indeed we did. So we only need one more cop. Or one more zombie, I should say. I'm going to send one zombie. Oh, that guy worries me a little bit. I want to send one zombie, like, into the outhouse here. Oh, good. He can go through the bush, actually. So he'll hide in the outhouse. And then a police officer should walk into there. I've done this smoother in the past. I don't know why it's proving to be a little bit more difficult this time. Is there a cop right here? Kind of wish I could zoom out. And, you know, in zooming out, kind of get a wider scope for what's going on right now. Oh, yeah, the police officer's there, but I need him to come to the outhouse. Unless there's another cop over here that maybe I could take. Because apparently we just instantly fail if we don't, if we do get discovered. So I need this guy to, like, I wonder if I can send, like, a zombie into the trash can or something like that. No? Alright, well, first things first. Let's get all these guys grouped up. There we go, finally. I guess something happened to that outhouse while I wasn't looking. So yeah, you know, the stealth doesn't work perfectly, but it is kind of interesting, and, you know, it's almost like you're sending people out to be Agent 47. You're not actually Agent 47 yourself. You're kind of laying some claymores or something down, and then just, like, organic, fleshy claymores, and then seeing what happens. So that is Section 2 of our gameplay done. And I believe we will be entering Section 3, where we'll be getting a new kind of zombie here. Hey everybody, welcome back. Sorry, I had a crash there that was actually unrelated to the game. I have a video card driver issue going on right now, but never fear. The good thing about the press demo of Raise the Dead is that you can kind of boot into whatever section you want. So I just skipped ahead to the next section. We were literally one fence away from getting there that we were just going to break down anyway. So we're in the pet cemetery now, and we are going to be introduced to our new zombie type. So if I raise this dog from the dead... Dog of the Dead? Has anyone made that movie yet? Dogs of the Dead? That sounds like something that Uwe Boll could get behind. So he's basically saying we've got a devil cat here who is a pain in the ass, but he's teaching us how to deal with it. Again, some of the text goes off the screen because I'm playing this 1280 by 720 windowed, as opposed to the resolution that I suppose the game is supposed to run in, which is probably 1920 by 1080. Anyway, this devil cat will appear, and this introduces us to the idea of different zombie types, which I guess, you know, is kind of analogous to different Pikmin types, I guess. I've never played Pikmin, so I'm a total poser right now. But basically, the dogs are weaker, but they're also much faster. So if we select our dog with the right bumper here, when the cat comes out, it's too fast for us to attack it normally, but the dog can come out and stun it. That's the other ability that the dog has, is that it can stun enemies. So after we kill this cat, we will be able to use this dog to stun enemies with guns, for example, which will make it possible for us to succeed on the very next section of the yeah, I botched that miserably. Which will make it possible for us to succeed on the next area of the game, which would otherwise be goddamn impossible. And I might even still die during that section because it's not easy. So that was 3, yep, so it should die there. And now we should be able to resurrect every dog zombie that we come across. Interface works really well, you know, there's some kind of green glow in the foreground regardless, but there's red glow whenever there's a grave that you can resurrect a zombie from, and there's kind of a more pronounced green glow whenever you can resurrect a human from a grave. I don't know how much in the actual game is going to involve summoning from graves and how much is going to involve killing people and kind of creating them organically, not to make a pun, as you go. This dog, or this dude, is pretty pissed off about this whole situation, though. But that represents the end of the 3rd section, so like I said, you know, the sections kind of vary in length here in the demo. And we're going to enter the final section. What's really neat about this demo, and I like this game a lot, actually, what's really neat about this demo is the fact that every single one is kind of a different gameplay element that is important. Like, we've seen stealth, we've seen the zombie style, or the dog style, and like switching back and forth between the 2 different classes. And in the first section, that was obviously just like a tutorial. Anyway, there's still hand-holding here. This is the track, by the way, that reminds me totally of like a John Carpenter or like an 80s monster movie or, you know, slasher flick or something style, which is really cool. But what we're going to do here, our main tactic, by the way, we can blow up police cars if we so choose, but our main tactic is going to be to, sorry, I've rebooted into that section again. Full disclosure, the reason it keeps crashing is because I'm playing it in windowed mode, and for some reason, my video card does not like recording in windowed mode. I guess my video card overheats or something and then crashes happen. It's not the game's fault, it's just me being an idiot continually playing in windowed mode. Anyway, what I was going to say earlier, let's get started here. Our main tactic is going to be, because our zombies can get hurt here, they can die. You know, as you might expect if you've watched any kind of zombie property before in your entire life. The game actually looks a lot better in full screen as well. I am playing it at a higher resolution as well, but in any case, what we want to do is kind of fight these guys tactically. So if there is ever an enemy with a gun, as there often is, what we kind of want to do is just send out the dogs first, like so, and this will stun them, and in stunning them, if I just bring our dog zombies back here, in stunning them, we will be able to get out of their way, basically, or get out of harm's way without them having too much opportunity to actually kill us. I will probably lose a boatload of zombies as we do this, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't really matter because we'll be able to create a number of extra ones as well. Simply, you know, combat as Ray is a little clunky, but it's okay because the squad stuff actually looks a lot better. I prefer not to get my hands dirty unless it will actually speed things up. Otherwise, I think it's in your best interest to just kind of hang back. So we will be going through some more like direct combat here. Let's use our dog to destroy this man here. I mean, obviously there are other dogs as well, which can be a pain in the ass for us to fight. But it's good when there's other dogs because it actually means, you know, those are normally kind of limited. But the more dogs we get, the more dog zombies we get. And Dog Zombie is not just the director of House of the Dead. I was gonna say House of Dead Ninjas. What did Rob Zombie do? I guess it's not really that relevant at this point. Now we've got a lot more dog zombies that we can use as a stun here if we want to. And I believe there's also a zombie up here. You can notice by the green glow on the interface again. The whole thing kind of looks a little bit like an 80s monster movie. Again, at least in the environment style. Not so much in the kind of like 2D cartoony aesthetic, but I like that as well. So let's send one dog in here. This might manage to stun him. And sometimes it'll stun them both, but it depends on the way things are going. And this will be the longest section that we've had so far. But it's also the coolest because you can kind of see, almost in a Tales from Space Mutant Blobs attack sort of way, you can see how you get stronger as things go. You kind of get a visual representation of that because obviously, you know, the more you play, the larger your horde gets. So we're going to want to stun this police officer up here. There we go. I managed to get him. It wasn't great, though. My aiming is pretty bad at this point, but I have beaten the demo, so I assume that I'm going to be able to do it again. Summon these police officers. I wish the zombies got someone with guns as well, but, you know, a man can dream maybe for later release. So we can destroy the police cars, as they mentioned. They lampshaded that in particular because I think you absolutely need to get that done in order to get through here. And there will be a section coming up pretty shortly where I believe we don't have any choice but to die. And it actually might be this section right here with the, I think it is, with the barriers. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, I forgot about these dudes. I don't know why the farmers are coming out to fight me. Like, I understand defend your town and all that, but, I mean, you just watch me, like, eviscerate 4 armed police officers and their German shepherds, you know, limb from limb, essentially. I think maybe we might be able to break through barrier on one of these sides. I can't remember which, though. Obviously, we have to fight these guys here. So far, it's been pretty linear. I know that strikes some people the wrong way, or rubs some people the wrong way. I'm not one of those people, though. We actually just lost both of our dog zombies there. There's where we go. We bust through the cop car there. I actually like linearity in my games for the most part. I hope it doesn't seem like I'm just being a shill here. But I like linearity. You know, you watched the Metro video, if you did. When the game got a little bit more open-worldy, slightly more open-worldy, the game's not open-world, but when it got a little more open-worldy, I kind of lost my like for it. I get confused, man. I've got a very simple brain. Linearity works well for me, especially in a game like this. Where, you know, there's a little bit of trial and error, as you can see, associated with, you know, getting that stealth action kind of side right. So I don't know if I've accidentally... Oh, I've used all my zombies. That's why me spamming the right trigger is not working here. I do really like the idea that just because something goes wrong once doesn't mean you're screwed forever. Like, the fact that I lost a lot of dog zombies could have been a serious problem, except for the fact that, you know, it's a new day. Every time you want to fight somebody else, just attack them, please. I don't care that it's women and children here. I need the zombies. Because that's what I was going to say, is that, you know, I like that if you just manage to defy the odds and kill a bunch of police officers. That sounded terrible, probably to people outside my window. But if you manage to defy the odds, you can get, like, a huge horde of zombies as well. Now, am I out of dogs? I feel like I've got one dog with me, the sweet-ass, like, big dog that kickstarted this whole thing. Speaking of Kickstarter, this is available on Kickstarter. Let's talk about reward tiers quickly, because this has kind of an unusual setup. For better or for worse. A lot of people are probably going to think it's for worse, but I've mentioned on the stream recently that a very common kind of tactic in Kickstarter campaigns these days is to have like a pre-order tier, which this game does have, and then have an early access tier, which is more expensive. This game does have that as well, but early access to the beta for this game is actually 80 bucks, whereas just pre-ordering the game is going to be in the $12 tier or the $15 tier. It's $12 for the first 500 people who back it, and if you're outside of that first 500, then it's $15 to get a pre-order of the game. This is going to be a hard spell of combat for us. I just want to make sure we have all of the dudes that we possibly can. There was one dude up here still. So yes, $12 if you're early gets you a pre-order of the game whenever it releases on whatever platform it releases. Good time to mention there is a Greenlight campaign as well, but I'll talk about that as we finish the video here. This is our final combat section, by the way. Beyond that, the early beta tier is 80 bucks, which is, you know, don't get me wrong, expensive. I'm actually holding these guys back as I send them forward, which is the wrong course of action here. But yeah, 80 bucks is a little expensive to get beta access to the game. But, you know, you can probably take comfort at least in knowing that it is not this demo exclusively, I assume. I imagine that will probably be a more complete version of the game. I don't want to speak for the developers unnecessarily, of course, but if it's just this demo, that would be kind of a tough sell. Not that the demo is bad by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, perhaps not the same incentive that you might have for other games. But anyway, those are the two tiers that I feel are most noteworthy. There is a soundtrack tier as well, I believe at like $25. But 12, 15, and 80 for, you know, content-specific kind of tiers. Now, we are going to die when we go through this barrier. This will be the end of the press demo. So the one thing I want to mention is that there is a Greenlight campaign. I can't believe I didn't kill this mustachioed police officer here. Oh, I got punched to death! It didn't really matter, because if we kind of went through this barrier, we would have died regardless. But what I was going to say is there is a Greenlight campaign as well. Even if you watch these videos and you're like, oh, I don't have a lot of disposable income, I can't contribute to Kickstarter, vote for this stuff on Greenlight if you want to see it on Greenlight. This is a game probably unlike any other I've ever played. Again, I've never played the Pikmin series, so take that with a grain of salt. And you know, assuming this becomes more polished upon its final release and it releases at a reasonable price point, I guess they're aiming for 15 bucks. I would love to see this on Steam. So, you know, voting on Greenlight is a little bit cumbersome, but it's also free and it helps the developers out more than you would know. So there will be a Kickstarter and a Greenlight link in the video description. As always, thanks for watching, you guys. This has been Raise the Dead from Ragtag Studios. Currently have a Kickstarter going on with about 3 weeks remaining, probably by the time this video goes up. $12, $15 to pre-order the game, and 80 if you want to be a super nice guy and also get early beta access. But in any case, I like it a lot. It's totally unique. It's a little rough around the edges in this version, but this is a press demo, not suitable for mass consumption, which is why I'm showing it off to, you know, hopefully 20,000 people. But again, in any case, if you like what you see, at the very least, consider voting for the game on Greenlight at the link in the video description below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time in full screen mode, I might add.